Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, iHeartRadio, and all the other platforms around the world. So this is special, I'll tell you why. Because it's always about voiceovers. Voiceovers is one of my favorite things that I'd like to do personally, but it's even more fun when you have someone like this young lady. Tell us who you are and what you're doing, because they don't always see the face, but they know the voice, don't they?
That's true. And though my voice might be a little older than most of you are used to listening to, but yes, my name is Michaela Jill Murphy, aka Jessie Flower, aka Toph Beifong from Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender. And you maybe are more familiar with a voice that sounds closer to this, a little bit higher and kind of in the back of my throat, 12-year-old me. So that's probably the voice you're used to hearing. But yes, I am an actress and a writer based in Los Angeles. Now I came back to LA during COVID. Yeah, and so that's probably what you know me by. I've also done some voices in Meet the Robinsons and in Kronk's New Groove, and some additional voices and stuff like Over the Hedge, Brother Bear, stuff like that. So yeah, that's me.
You know, the fun thing about this is that voiceovers come in really handy when it's a spooky season. We're in
Yes.
Halloween. Talk about that first and talk about that Hyype Space and your challenge.
Yeah, of course. So recently I partnered with Hyype Space. That's with 2 Y's, Hyype Space. They reached out, their new app, a challenge-based app. And I just felt like it made sense with kind of who I am, and especially with kind of Avatar fandom. It went hand in hand. So basically, Hyype Space is exclusively a challenge-based app. So that's the only thing that's on there. And the nice thing about it is very much a safe space and a positive space. So the only interaction that you can have on these videos is clapping for like your favorite submissions. There's no commenting or downvotes or anything like that. So it's very much positive, and the challenges have to be approved by the Hyype Space board to make sure that it's like appropriate for families and just, you know, not making anybody uncomfortable. So I thought this was a cool way to kind of involve the Avatar fandom. You know, our first challenge was like a bending challenge, and then, you know, this week is Halloween, so we have like a spooky spirit challenge. And it can be Avatar related if you want, but I just kind of wanted to do something in the spirit of Halloween, and you can just share your favorite costume or a favorite makeup look or favorite decorations or a pumpkin carving, anything like that. And, you know, just submit it by the end of Halloween. And then there's a couple days of voting. The winners are chosen by you all, by the audience. And there are some cash prizes attached. You know, the first place winner gets $200. So yeah, there's just a little spooky spirit challenge happening right now. And it's free to download. You can download it on App Store or Google Play. And yeah, then just upload a video of your favorite spooky thing.
You know, it's funny. If I close my eyes, I could hear you going in and out of your voice just slightly. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even
it's
know.
It's still in there. It's still very much in there. Some people hear it immediately when they come up to talk to me. They're like, oh, I can still hear it. Because I wasn't changing my voice very much. It was really just kind of 12-year-old me being 12-year-old me, but definitely digging into kind of the tougher, like tomboy side of things, but not, I wasn't really altering my sound, if that makes sense. So yeah, she's still in there.
No, when I go back to Nancy Cartwright and everybody else there, I think about all the stuff, great stuff that you guys can create, what you do. Yeah. I could never do the characters. I was always the warm and friendly guy next door. Yeah. So I can only admire the many voices that you can have. And kids love that when they come up. When you did your very first one, and you certainly, when you went out, whether it's a Comic-Con or whatever, and you saw the very first kid, what was that feeling like for you? Because their eyes always glow, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think also growing up in Los Angeles, it kind of made it more normalized in one sense, but it's definitely very cool seeing people dressed up as you, cosplaying as your character. And even more touching when people come up just with like a very, you know, heartfelt, very personal story about how the show or the character got them through a hard time, helped them, you know, kind of become confident in who they are. And especially this last year during COVID, it helped many people get through like the loss of loved ones, because they used to watch the show together. And so that's kind of like their tie to their family members. So, you know, it's kind of grown in importance, especially the last couple years, just because I feel like it's become such a a grounding point for so many that kind of just got them through a crazy time, where they are like finally watching it with their kids because they watched it when they were kids. So now it's becoming like a multi-generational thing. So I feel like the first time was like, whoa, that's cool. And now when I go places, it kind of has this greater impact of just like, wow, this is such an important show, an important thing that I got to be a part of. So it also is probably me getting a little bit older as I get more sentimental.
Well,
But
that's also the fun part about it too, because I think when going back to the mid to late 90s when I first started doing it on my end, we always had our home booth. That was one of the things that we were told. Now everybody's doing podcasting, everybody's doing this. But
yes.
but we, the voiceover people, were kind of the first to get there to do that.
Mhm.
And that was very interesting. You can do it anywhere around the world. As long as you have that great mic. I'm in North Carolina right now. I'm doing this on my friend's computer, so I don't even have my stuff with me.
Right.
Longer than I was going to be. But it's interesting. You got to do everything wherever you are and just make it work the best that you can, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, before we used to carry around this little, we call it a snowball microphone that we would just like is a USB, and we'd stick it in places, and very questionable quality. But it's crazy what the baseline of quality is now. Like, you know, with your phone. I don't know why I was referencing down to the floor. You can't see it. But yeah, with your phones and even just like kind of regular laptops, the video and audio quality are just like so great. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine having this whenever I was like 11, 12 years old sending in auditions. Yeah, crazy. So now, yeah, everybody's kind of hopped on board. But yeah, the early days when, a lot of voice actors like D. Bradley Baker, who has had a home studio for ever, had that all set up. He's kind of one of the earlier examples of like a professional setup at home. But now it seems like everybody does, which is kind of crazy.
Talk about this show. What made this show kick off? And then talk about your writing, because you're getting more into that, right?
Yeah. And sorry, can you mention the first part again? What about the show?
I'll talk more about that show, why it kind of took off.
Oh, yeah.
You see, as that voiceover artist, sometimes you go in before, sometimes you go in at the end, and you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely did not know while we were recording that it was going to be so popular. Kind of watching the growth has been, I mean, definitely surreal, but also understandable, because as people keep rewatching it or watching it for the first time, there's just the recognition of how well it's written. And then you can keep rewatching it and you can keep getting new things and realizing new things, and you notice stuff that you didn't notice before. And you don't get tired of it. It's very easy to rewatch. And that, I think, is what makes people go like, wait, I want to keep watching this. Actually, I want to watch it again. Why do I like this so much? Oh, it's, the character arcs and the details and the way that each character is so fleshed out. They have such a personality. They have their flaws and they have their strengths, and they're just very, very relatable. They're very human. They're very tangible characters. I think that's what is giving it its boost, its longevity. And as I'm writing, I ended up majoring in screenwriting in college. It's very helpful as I kind of craft my own arcs, my own characters, just to take inspiration from kind of Mike and Brian's genius of kind of the importance of making sure that everybody is human, and not, human in a look at how human they are falsely constructed way, but just making them as kind of relatable as possible. Because I feel like everybody can kind of relate to almost any character in the show, and that's how it should be. There should be a bit of humanity in, every character, so that you can really, I don't know, create a very full, rich ensemble in your story. So yeah, I'm working on kind of a historical fiction type thing, similar to like a Queen's Gambit, where it's not, based in reality, but it's during like a very much tangible point in time. And so I'm working on something that's kind of in the earlier 1900s, kind of based in New Orleans. And so it's kind of crazy going into like historical deep dives about that time and trying to make my characters as relatable as possible while also telling the story that I want to tell. So it's been hard, but it's been good. And I'm hoping to have it finished up by the end of December. So we'll see.
Talk about this really quickly. Talk about how you hooked up with Hyype, and then how people, fans, can go into your social media links.
Yeah, sure. So Hyype Space reached out to me, and so then we kind of joined up together. My username on there is at Michaela Mostly. That's the same as my Instagram handle. That's Michael with an A on the end, Michaela, and then Mostly, Mostly. And yeah, they reached out and just were looking for people to kind of get started on the app. And if I was interested and how I would engage with, with followers and kind of what challenges I would create. And so it just ended up being a great little partnership, especially for the avatar specific challenges, which I think are a lot of fun for my followers. So yeah, you can, like I said, download Hyype Space on the App Store or Google Play. Username is Michaela Mostly. Use the referral code Twinkletoes, all lowercase, one word, so that they know that you're there kind of for me / an avatar fan. And on Instagram, same thing, at Michaela Mostly. I'm also on TikTok. It's my full name, Michaela Jill Murphy. Yeah. So those are kind of my main 3 places. And I usually post about, as soon as projects drop, like that video game that's coming out next spring, or what anime conventions I'm going to be at next, if you want to come to try and meet me in person, or all of the Hyype Space challenges, if you want to submit to one of those and be a part of the hype.
Well, and one last thing before we leave. So Movie Reviews and More, we've been to the toy world now. I didn't see that one coming. We went to ASHTO, American Specialty Toy Retailers Association. That's why I'm here in North Carolina, because all these toy companies and inventors and gamers and the schools are coming to us because of our numbers. So it's one of those things where you just mentioned, I'll be at Toy Fest. You find there too also. So we'll be one of the leading press people, because they don't have a lot of press there, to do a lot of this stuff. And that makes me happy. I did not see that coming. So I'm really happy. And again, being in the voiceover world, to what you do, it kind of aligns it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It was definitely not as busy as it was before COVID. I maybe went to like a couple conventions here and there, but I feel like people were very much wanting that kind of in-person interaction, especially after, being kind of stuck inside for so long, that I feel like they've grown in popularity like a crazy amount. And yeah, there are now toy fests and fan fests and cosplay fests and just like all sorts of events. It's really grown exponentially. It's crazy.
Now, the last question before you go, you got to do it in character. What would you say to those kids to inspire them in your voice?
Well, my favorite thing is I like to give a brief earthbending lesson. So the key to earthbending is your stance. You've got to be steady and strong. Rock is a stubborn element, so if you're going to move it, you've got to be like a rock yourself. And just remember to keep your knees high, Twinkle Toes.
And with that, we will end with that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll see you at one of the conventions, or I'm sure.
Yeah, we're around, moving around. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. It was nice to meet you.